About how to actually lay out your website, and this isn't looking at it just from an aesthetics point of view. We're actually wanting to make sure that when we lay out our website, it is enticing that guest, that person that's looking at your website, to actually book in with you. So we're going to be looking at both of those components in this video: what looks good, and then also what gets people to book. So first, you'll be getting this form in your resources as well, and it'll lay out for you what you need to be thinking about when you put together your website. So let's actually get down to the brass tacks, so to speak. First and foremost, when it comes to your website, there's a concept in the marketing world that we call above the fold. And where this came from was back when they used to deliver newspapers. Well, I guess technically they still do if you get the paper. But this term came from newspaper print, when that newspaper would be folded up. And when you folded it up, that top half of the page that's showing, that is your most important real estate. That's the most important stuff that you see. And so this is where the important stuff goes. So here's some key things that we like to see on your website that inspires people to stick around and book with you. First of all, who are you? So your name and logo is in the top corner there. You should probably have a tagline in there as well, ideally. Your contact information, ideally it should be visible at all times, even if they're scrolling through. That would be a perfect world scenario, as if your contact information is always there. And then obviously you've got your site index, which is just the pages for your website. Big, bold, up front, we're looking for what do you do and what do you do specifically for the customer. So what does the customer get out of it? You don't want to write here like 30 years in business, because the customer is not going to know how that actually applies to them. You need to make sure when you're writing this thing, the question that you're asking, or the customer is going to be asking themselves, is what's in it for me? So answering that question for the customer, what's that benefit to the customer? I'll give you guys an example of what this looks like in a sec. Then we've got call to action. So if someone wants to buy, don't make them search all over your website for the booking tab. Make sure that you give them easy access to booking. If they know they want to book, don't make them frustrated by hiding that somewhere 3 pages deep. Next, above the fold, we're looking at, if possible above the fold, we're looking for that opt-in. So like here I mentioned, it should be not a pop-up. I'm not a fan of opt-ins that are pop-ups. You might talk to marketers that are, but in our measurement of things, it's annoying. So most people like it just sits there on the page the whole time. They can always go back and revisit it, but it's not something that gets in the way of them reading everything else. So we either have it as a tab on the side, or we have it as an opt-in that just stays on the page the whole time. So let's look at this first section before we get too deep. Let's look at what that first section really looks like. So here we got Cozy Cabins. We have here's who we are. We've got our all of our tabs across the top. We have our phone number so people can easily figure out how to get a hold of us. And then here we have that bold statement that that tells the guest or the prospective guest, here's what you're going to get as a benefit when you come here. So here we've always got, you're going to take many vacations of your life. Let this one stand out. And then free from distractions, you'll connect to something deeper. Another thing I want to address in this video are the photos, the photos that your person is seeing. Photos are very much like copywriting, and we haven't really gotten into copywriting yet, but copywriting is when you write words on a page to sell. So we'll talk about that in a few videos. But here we've got pictures on a page, and those pictures are selling for you. So you need to ask yourself, what's the scenario that your guest wants to be in? What's the image that they want to see? So if we're targeting moms, in our case, with families, young families specifically, what are the photos that they are going to be attracted to seeing? Well, we have decided that these are photos that a mom would potentially like to see. Like, they'd like to see their children happy and free and running around and picking flowers and all that stuff. So that's what we've got here. I'll talk about where we get these photos in a sec, but for now, that's the important part. Then you've got the Book Now tab, so they're not searching for it. And then, unfortunately, we don't have it above the fold, but right after that, we've got our opt-in. So we're putting it there right away. Now, aesthetically, I'm actually not stoked on this, but I'm not a programmer, so I have no idea how to make this look great aesthetically. I should hire someone to do that, but I haven't, and it is still working. So we've got the opt-in formula here. And then we jump into the next bit, which I'll go back to my, here we've got your purpose statement. So why is it you do what you do? Like, what is it you stand for? Then from there, answer some of the big questions about your process or who you are. I like to have testimonials on the homepage, and then another contact us, and then we've got social media links. This is up for debate, this last bit. The further down the page you get, not as important. But the purpose statement and some big questions answered, we try and make sure we cover those. So here's our purpose statement. Our vision is to empower families to connect on a deeper level. We do this by providing a vacation experience that is unforgettable. Then we give a few options for, like, here's what we're about, here's what we do. We want to stand out for what we want to be known for, which is the #1 place to bring your kids. And then we have a gallery. And we get a lot of compliments on this gallery. What I can tell you is that every single photo on this page was taken by someone else, not from the resort, and all of them were done for free. So if you think you need to hire a photographer to come in and do all these photos for you, you don't. I'll address that really quickly here. Where did all these photos come from? These photos all came from photographers that are considering themselves to be social media influencers, and we traded them time for these photos. So they came, they stayed with us, and we traded them time. Some of the wedding ones might be an exception. Those just came straight from the wedding photographer. But the rest of these all came from influencers that came and wanted to stay with us, and so they were giving us these photos, and there's a lot more. Does that mean that you can't put your own photos in here? No. And now that I'm scrolling a bit further down the page, that's somewhat a lie, because I know that this photo and this photo are photos I took with my phone. So this one too. But the rest all came from influencers. So yeah, you can have amazing photos just by trading your experience to influencers, and I would highly recommend that you do that. There's going to be open spots on your tour that might not fill up, or you make an open spot, and there's going to be low season. We don't trade for high season, but there's going to be low season spots where it might be a bit trickier to fill those up, and so bring an influencer in and let them do the marketing for you, because I can pretty much promise you they're going to do a better job of taking these photos and presenting you than you will. In most cases, that's probably the truth. So that's where we get these photos from. Even the ones that we used here, again, this comes from someone that considers themselves to be a bit of a photographer influencer, and they took all these photos for us for free. They actually were a paying guest. They had all these photos, and we just asked them, hey, you took all these photos, would you be okay if we took a few and used them for our website? And now that I'm saying that, actually, I don't want to lie to you guys. These photos that she took, she offered them for free. We actually decided to pay her money for the core ones for her website. So we gave her a few $100 just to use photos she already had. But for the majority of these, for the rest of these were all from influencers that we just traded time for. Okay, so that addresses your homepage. Another big page that's important is the About Us page, because a lot of times when people want to work with you, especially if you're a tour company, they want to know who they're working with. So we've got the About Us page, and we have a formula. Well, that's loading. We have a formula for the About Us page. So what we want to do is we want to answer questions from the customer's perspective, because guess what? The About Us page is not really about you. Everything that you write should be about your guest. It should address their questions, their concerns, their desires. So About Us page is no exception to that. We want to make sure we're creating an About Us page that answers these 6 questions. What happened to you, or what have you done that I should care about? These are the questions from the customer. Have you created something for me? Why should I buy from you? and what makes you different? What can I expect if I buy from you? Has anyone else had a good experience after buying from you? Do I trust you? And what's the next step? So let's take a look at kind of what that looks like if I go to this site. So first of all, we're answering that question, what have we built for them? So even though it seems like it's about, like we're writing about ourselves, we're really writing about what we've actually built for the guest. So for the past 20 years, we've painstakingly crafted our 60 acres into a mountain paradise that brings joy to the amazing families that stay with us. And it goes on. I'm not going to read the whole thing to you guys. We want to showcase that we're different from the other options that they have out there. So here, the way that we present that is we say we take a different approach than most resorts out there, air quotes. And then we give 3 reasons why we see ourselves as being different. From there, we tell a little bit of our story. You don't have to do that, but in this case we do. But the only reason we tell this story is because we're looking for a way to resonate with, again, the moms that we're targeting. So we're telling this story because we believe it's something that the moms are going to resonate with, because it tells the story of our family and the kids growing up. And then you'll see here, we go into testimonials on the About Us page. And then from testimonials, because what does this do? This showcases, has anyone else had a good experience after coming to you, experiencing your thing? So here we're showcasing, yes, other people have had a good experience after coming to us. And then there's that last question you want to answer, which is, do I trust you? Now, you can't just write, hey, trust us, because that inevitably, that's going to put up a flag. So what do we do to create trust? Again, all we're looking to do is we just want to relate to them, to the guests that we want to go after. So for the guests that we go after, we say, hey, if you want to come share a glass of wine with us, have some good conversation, and spend some time in the mountains, then have a look at our cabins below. So in this case, we're pre-qualifying the kind of person that we want to have at our place. A kind of person that likes wine, likes good conversation, and likes the mountains, then that's our perfect guest. And from there, we have a button that says See Cabins. And if you actually looked at our Google Analytics, what you'll see is there's a flow through. People come to this page, and from this page, they go to this See Cabins page, and from there they go to bookings. So we know that this page redirects a lot of people that do book with us. And that's all this page is doing, is really just selling what we've got. The About Us page doesn't need to be all about you. Here we have this video. If you can make videos, great. I don't know why it's so pixelated, but it clears up when you click on it. If you have videos, great. Use them to showcase yourselves as the owners. I'll encourage you to do that, but you also want to make sure you back that up with what you're writing on the About Us page. A few other things as far as layouts go. Product and service pages. If you have accommodation, it's probably a good idea to have this. To be quite frank, we did have this, and I wish I could show you something, but we're in the middle of, we chopped it all, and we're in the middle of redoing it again right now. We just hired a new web developer to work on some of this stuff for us. So this is the copywriting formula. So when you're actually writing to your guests, this is the format that you want to use. You want to start with a strong headline that hooks their curiosity. Then you want to make everything about them. So everything you're writing is about them. The first thing you want to do is relate to their problem or their challenge. And then we want to intensify that problem or challenge. We'll call it twisting the knife. So just bringing some reality to the problem or the challenge that they've got. And in this space, it might be, hey, has it been too long since your last vacation? Or, is the stress mounting or is the stress building? Is it getting to the point where you don't think you can take it anymore? And then introducing the solution. Maybe part of the problem as well is you've looked for other resorts or other tour companies, but it's always crowded, and sometimes it's just as stressful going on vacation as it is staying at home. So then we introduce the solution, and maybe the solution is You want to avoid those crowds. You want to go someplace that is very friendly with your family, super safe, and you don't have to worry about I don't know, the group next door. I'm just making this up as I go. So if that's what you're looking for, well, guess what? We happen to be the best person in 1,000 miles to give you that kind of experience, and here's what it's going to look like. Then we provide that social proof. So we've worked with, or we've had over 1,000 people that we've worked with. You don't have to have the numbers, but if you want to put them in there, we have over 1,000, I don't know, families that have come here, and here's what they have to say, and then you give some testimonials. What's it worth? So you can put price in there. When I say price, really what you would be doing with the what's it worth is you compare that to something else. So for instance, in the past, we've used, hey, you could take your family to Disneyland and that's an amazing experience, and we don't want to take that away from you, but going to Disneyland costs you on average $7,000 US. We can give you an experience that your kids are going to be just as happy about and they're going to talk about just as much, but it's going to be a fraction of that cost. So we position it that way. And then we say, if you'd like to book with us, click the button below. Other things that help to weave into that video, or sorry, this isn't necessarily video, this often is writing, but other things that you can weave in to the page that you put together, the writing, are all of these questions, which you guys have this form, so I'll let you go through it. Helps sometimes to have an FAQ page. We should have one, but if we don't, then maybe it's because we're still working on it. And then testimonials. So if you're getting testimonials, you can ask for this because sometimes guests will say, well, what do you want me to put into a testimonial? This is our 4-step framework for those testimonials. And we do this in both written as well as we've done this with videos as well. So sometimes we'll ask these questions in a video and then we'll splice it all together, and then we'll use that as a testimonial video. Sometimes we'll use it in our marketing, sometimes we'll just have it sitting on our website. But these are the 4 questions that we ask. First, why might you have hesitated to book with us? If they answer this question, what they're really doing is they're talking about all of the mental objections that they had before they booked. And so the person that's watching this can sometimes relate. They can be like, oh, I'm thinking that same thing. For instance, they might say, it looked a bit pricey, but I decided this is a family vacation. We only go on it once a year. You know what? Let's spend a little bit extra money because it looks great. And that leads into what made you decide to book with us. Oh, well, we looked at your site and we thought we really enjoy the fact that the cabins are all spread out and they're not all jammed together. So what they're really doing in this question number 2 is it's answering to the person watching or reading this testimonial, what's something that's unique about you that other people don't have? That usually is that deciding factor. Number 3, what's the best part of your experience, or what was the best part of your experience? They just highlight they highlight whatever the best part was, and what that communicates to the person watching this is what they can expect if they come and they have a similar experience with you. And the last question you'll ask is, what kind of person would you recommend this to? And you want to prompt them to be as specific as possible, because what you want is you want this to really call out your target market. So if they said, oh, you know what, this is perfect for a mom looking to relax with her family, now you've got the attention of any mom that's watching or reading that testimonial. It's like, oh, this is really for me, and that just solidifies that fact. So these are 4 really good questions that you can use for your testimonials. Cool. All right, I think that is most of the website and what goes into it. Covers a little bit of copywriting as well as photos and where that comes from. I know that was kind of brief. Well, it's a long video, but brief section on each little bit. But those are typically the core things that we're looking for as we're going through a website. So if you got any questions, pop them in. Let me know. Pop them into either Facebook or even into you can pop questions right into this course down below these videos, and we'll be monitoring those. We'll be looking for them. Or just contact us at support@tourismmarketingmastery.com, and we'll get back to you through that. All right, awesome. Go change your website, make it look cool, and more importantly, make sure it actually is converting for you.